Hello, gentlemen.
Hey, Tim.
Hey, Tim. Tonight, I am not alone. My daughter's actually with me.
Well, that's a good thing. Of
Cool.
course, that does mean that if Frill joins us, he's going to have to watch his language. But, unless, Phil, you say that, well, that's nothing she hasn't heard here at home.
I'll have her speak up. You want him to cuss?
No.
And Tim, I don't think it's a question of whether or not she's heard it before. It's a question of whether or not it's appropriate.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I'm used
Definitely
to it.
not
Like,
appropriate.
well, I mean, I'm used to it. I guess I don't like.
You got to bleep out everything anyways, right?
No, I don't have the ability to do that easily. So I just say to heck with it and post it as is. And because if I went through and tried to bleep out everything, I literally what I have to do is sit through the entire video again.
All over again.
Yeah, and
That would suck.
Look, I made a little small trash can.
There you go.
And
Yeah, my son was going to be on tonight, but he's busy working on a video game. So he got to a certain place. He's like, I got to do this, Dad. I'm like, okay. So
I got to win. I got to get past this next level.
look how big the star is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, both children scored hits this past weekend. So they're like, hey, we'll be on.
Oh yeah, can I show them what I'm building when everybody's here?
Yeah, when it's time, sure.
Mhm.
Oh.
Is everybody building their stuff?
Yeah, different people be doing different things.
Oh, okay. Look at me, guys.
Cool. What are the decals for?
The stickers?
Yeah.
They're just for the blushes.
Oh, that's easy.
Hey, is Tim in here yet?
No, he's not.
Really?
Ask a silly question, Vince.
Well, I'm in a different view, so I wasn't in the Hollywood Squares view, you know? So, Tim, a while back, you had given me the Badger 150 airbrush to pass along to young Mr. Austin Williams. You remember that?
Right.
The Badger 150 that you got in a box of models at some point, you gave that to me to give to young Mr. Austin Williams.
Yes.
Well, it had the internal seals were fairly corroded on that, so I had gone to Badger and purchased a seal, a refresh kit,
Right.
and stripped that thing down, gave it a bath in my ultrasound, put all the fresh seals in it, and I gave that to Austin. He's been using it and enjoying it.
Good.
I went out. I to see him for something, and his younger brother Boyd told me that he wants to start learning how to build models. So I ran out a couple of weeks ago to Hobby Lobby. Joy and I were picking some stuff up, and I grabbed some basic tools, and I just grabbed paints out of my collection because they're both using Apple. And I took him a little, starter kit, and he's working. I bought the I think it's the Revell 76 L10 Tomcat that they put out, not the new Tomcat, but the original Tomcat.
Mm-hmm.
And he was building this really cool thing out on the graveyard, and this guy was selling the Badger 150 in the wooden case with all the accoutrements with it. The opening bid was $1, and I won that thing for $31. So I paid for it, and it arrived yesterday. Well, when I was messaging with a guy on the graveyard about buying that thing, he's going, so, the Badger 150, and he's like writing me hints and tips. And I went, oh, I've got a 150. I've been using it since 1985. And he goes, well, then what'd you buy another one for? So I told him I bought it to give to this young man, a friend's kid who wants to build models, and how our club has helped out his brother. And this guy, he went, it was awesome. He's like, I'll tell you what, I've got stuff here in my stash I'll never build. Let me put together a couple of care packages. Well, today, his care packages showed up. This guy shipped me a quarter scale monogram A10 Thunderbolt 2, and all of them were shrink wrapped in original packaging. There was a Willys Jeep, an M41 Walker Bulldog, some kind of little van, a vehicle model, and a brand new Bandai quarter scale X-Wing Red Squadron, $35 kit from over at Hobby Lobby. This guy sent $100, $120 in models along. I thought that was so I wrote him back and told him, your kindness, your generosity, very much appreciated. When I got done with work today, I jumped on over to those boys' house and dropped off the airbrush and the models, and some motivated young men.
Good.
So where Austin has joined us for a couple of the meetings over at High Tide Games, his younger brother Boyd may be coming along too now, because he's trying to jump in and build models as well.
Well, that's good.
Cool.
Yeah. Guy I bought it for a friend's kid. He was like, oh dude, I'll send you stuff, love to encourage kids. I just thought that was amazing.
Yeah, Austin, last week when I brought last month when I brought the a box of, free to a good home models, he went crazy, and he's like, he goes over and says, hey, can I take more than one? And I said, well, give everybody else a chance to take a look at it before you take more than one or two. And he waited a little bit, and he went over and he got 4. And then of course he ended up winning the raffle that night.
Putting decals on.
Raffle, yeah.
So he had a pretty good evening.
He had a very good evening. Yeah, because he ended up going home with 5 or 6 models.
Sweet.
So, hey, Phil, immediately on your right, I see a left t-shirt sleeve.
Hi.
Yes, yes, you do.
There she is.
She'll tell you why she's here.
Not right now.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, basically both children this past weekend scored models, so she wanted to go ahead and build hers tonight. I was telling the other guys, my son would be here too because he got one as well, but there was a video game he was in and he like was too busy. He's like, I really want to get this dad. I'm like, okay. He's like, I'll work with you Saturday. I was like, okay.
The allure of the video game.
Gotta get rid of that boss.
I know I stand on the scale of things.
We don't like decals.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Well, this may be it, guys. I think we'll go ahead and get started. Let's see. The only one of the things I've got on my list of announcements is I got to make sure I send out a blast to everybody and remind them that our meeting is not next week, but it's 2 weeks from tonight, and everything's all set with High Tide Games, so we're good to go there. And then we'll. With let's see, that'll be August, and then but with September we'll be back on track after that. Anybody
They
else
had
have
no
any
issue.
announcements?
They had no issue moving to the fourth Thursday. That was good.
Yeah, that was good. They had issue moving it to the left, not to the right.
Oh, okay, good.
Just a quick one, Tim. I only see one person I think it affects, but it'll be Joe. I don't know if Colin contacted you, but I have your models from the Navy Yard.
Okay.
I'll be bringing them out. I got yours and Whitey's and everybody's, and because Colin's not going to be here. So I'll be bringing them to the next meeting on the 26th.
Okay, I'm gonna try and make it. If I can't and Andy's there, just send mine home with him and I'll get them from him.
With who?
Whitey.
Whitey. Okay.
Yeah, he lives just up the street.
Okay. If those guys join, I'll do at it at the end. I'll do another announcement for them too. But I got
Okay.
all this. I've got all those. I don't have all of them because they kept the Midway ones.
Okay.
But I think you have an Avenger.
Well, the Avenger was part of the Midway collection.
Well, there's an Avenger there that's got, I think, got your name on it. And
Okay.
I got one for Dan Yackel, one for Whitey. He's got an Avenger, a Dauntless with a Operation Torch logo marking on the fuselage.
That one's not mine.
And then I think it might be Benny's. And one which is, what's the Navy version of a Lockheed Hudson?
Oh, the Ventura.
Yeah, I've got a big Ventura too, quarter scale Ventura. I don't know who that belongs to.
I built that one.
That's yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I didn't know it had
and if it's
folding
if
wings,
it's
Joe.
an Avenger, then it's just the two-tone scheme, gray over or blue over gray. Then
Intermediate
that's
blue
mine
over
too.
gray. Yeah, I didn't know that the Ventura had folding wings. That's kind of cool.
Oh well, it must be a new version of it.
Yeah. All right, that's all, Tim.
All right. Any other announcements? If not, then either Phil or Phil's daughter is up.
Beth, you want to go first?
Oh yeah, show them the spot I'm making.
Yeah, you tell him. Scooch over.
Can I show them?
Yeah, scooch over.
There. I'm pulling up the box.
Go ahead.
Ta-da.
Tell him you got the sweet.
Kirby.
It's very pink.
Yeah, this is Kirby. It turns out that there's a store called Third Eye Comics, and that they were selling model kits, and like I found one of Kirby, and I'm like, I want it. Right?
Yeah. By the way, Third Eye has a ton of Gundam kits now, so
Not
hopefully they'll
just
start
comics.
carrying them at High Tide. They don't yet, but Third Eye's got a bunch if you guys are interested.
Where are they, Phil?
I don't think Chinese?
They are right next to Hobby Lobby now.
The one down
Okay.
here.
They used to be like 2 down. Yeah, I think it was Dave was telling us about it before, but
Yeah,
yeah,
they're
they're taking up 2 slots now, so they're really big, and they have like almost the length of the store of shelves of Gundam kits. So
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
they're
know.
right next.
Kirby.
yeah, go ahead, Beth.
They're right next to the
Competition.
Chinese restaurant.
There is the beauty supply place. I guess you can go there and
Yep.
get canning blocks, and then they're right next door to them. Go ahead, Beth. You tell them about that.
Hey, Phil, do they have paint there?
No, yes, they do for the tabletop gaming stuff.
Yeah, so similar to what High Tide Games has?
Yes, I think High Tide's got a better selection though. So
All right, cool. Good to know.
What?
you can tell them about it. Show them your kit.
Well, I only got this much done.
Get
That's
closer.
good.
Get closer to the camera.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a small but easy to build. I'm like almost done.
Yeah, it's cool. It's got like the eyes and everything molded into it, so it's like no stickers or anything like that.
No, they have stickers. I had to use. It's for the blushes.
Oh, okay. 2 stickers for the cheeks. That's all.
I like, like the sticker decals are hard to put on precisely.
Foil
Amen to
decal.
that.
Is that it then, Sudie?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Okay, and
Phil, and pardon. Hey, Phil. Hey, Phil. I'm
Hey.
sorry, I beg your pardon. What is your daughter's name?
oh, Bethany.
Bethany. Thank you. Hi, Bethany.
Okay. I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
Very much.
Okay. And for the 2 guys I'm working on, speaking of decals, I'm putting little decals on these. These are the defensive ordnance that will go on the back in clusters. And then I hosed my model up some more. Actually put a hose on there, actually cable to go between the joint and the feed for the drum, and doing some more painting and highlighting on the barrel. The barrel, this section here, I had it all metal, and I was like, that's too much metal for reality. So I sat there and painted it over and put some more wash on it. And speaking of High Tide, I thought I'd try out the Army Painter washes, because I've been making up some of the washes myself, and I'll put it on there and it looks awesome. And then I'll come back an hour later and I'm like, well, where'd it go? So I thought I'd try some of theirs out. And this is actually light tone, and light tone basically came out like this. So it picked it up pretty good and it flows really nicely. So I got like 3 bottles, and I got this lightest one, and I had a feeling just by looking at the bottle, you could see how dark it is, that it would be sufficient, and sure enough it is. So now I have 2 colors that are like really dark. One of them's supposed to be for doing flesh, but I think it's going to be like really dark unless you've been like in the mud or something like that. So, but that's it for me, for us, I should say.
Cool. So Phil, those washes, those are water-based?
They are. In fact, when it's really good because I painted this with Krylon, and then I've been putting all of the other stuff on top of it as water-based. So it's really easy to wipe off with isopropyl. It's really good. And of course, clean up as water and stuff like that. And they actually say on them washes. So.
Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool. Joe, you're up.
Oh, I'm sitting here playing with the ICM Stearman still. Trying to put exhaust pipes on it, but as you can see, it looks like an airplane. Well, I had some adventures, shall we say, with the wing insignias and such. Those are all painted, but masking and painting the upper wing stars gave me fits. I kept pulling the paint off of it with the masking, and I kind of lost count as to how many times I had to sand it down and repaint it and try again. But eventually I got it to where I'm happy with it.
Holy crap, that's a good way to go through a lot of yellow paint.
Yeah. But the cameo color is nice. It works really well. It managed to cut a stencil for the serial number on the tail, which is less than a 1/4 inch tall. So I still had to use a few decals on it for the stenciling and the little don't push type things, but for the most part, it's mostly paint. It's a really nice kit, fits together nicely. Got the engine, I'm working on that. I'm just trying to get the exhaust pipes on. And that's pretty much what I've been playing with. After I get the exhaust pipes on, I'm going to go ahead and do the rigging. Then I put the engine on and call it good. So on to the next person, Tim.
All right, well, I'm gonna go next. All right, this is what I've been working on. I think I am done with this thing now. And what I did was, other than I put a wash on it using some Tamiya dark brown wash, and that kind of deepened things a little bit, but not as much as a black did. So I like that. I did use a black wash on a couple areas where I wanted to make it a little darker. There was a couple of vents, and then I used a product. And Vince, I got this from you. It's a Vallejo pigment, and basically it's just a powder. And then I dusted that all on the lower areas of it, so that it looked like it was kind of in a dusty desert environment and just got dusty, and it looks pretty good. That's all. I did that all over a gloss coat. I haven't sealed it yet, but I will. And unfortunately, I like the way it looks right now, but if I don't seal it, it's probably going to all eventually, especially with handling, start coming off. And I painted the guy with a little bit of red on his mohawk just to make him stand out a little bit, because people are like to be independent and show I am who I am where they can. It's got the little Hellfire missiles. Anyway, I'm done with it. This is that it's a game piece. This is the little part that it comes with underneath, and that's the stand, if you will, and it sits on that. And I guess it's supposed to move around on a board. And so that's the only other thing I've been working on is the Arizona. I got it primed, and it's looking pretty good. I've got to fill in the seams here where the boat deck goes onto the main deck, but I like the way it looks so far. And I'm filling some seams in here. If you can see, it's kind of shiny. Use a little sprue glue to fill in some minor gaps that exist, because I can't seem to find my filler otherwise. And I was impressed at how well the angles that I put on here on the edges came out now that it's primed. It looked kind of awful when it was in my mind's eye before I primed it. And once I got the primer on, it toned it way down, and suddenly it looks like it belongs. So I'm pretty happy with that. And very soon I'm going to get to start putting color on it. Nice wooden deck, and then figure out how to mask that easily. This is almost big enough. It's like, gosh, why don't you just paint it, Tim, with a brush? But maybe I won't. I'll just mask it off and airbrush it. Anyway, that's it for me.
You're really giving that old Revell Arizona the workover. That thing looks really good, Tim.
Thanks. Yeah, my objective is to do it right, and So I've got, my reference, and I've been studying lots of pictures online, plus the pictures that are available there. And, every little inch of the hull as I go through, it's like, okay, does this look like the real boat? I mean, I put more into this one than I think I've put into any other model I've ever built. So, and I'm at a point where I'd like to think, fingers crossed, that the hard work is done in terms of the hull. Because once the hull is right, the rest of the parts just kind of sit on top, and they, the superstructure piece is mostly 3D resin printed, so that's all being replaced. It's going to look a whole lot nicer, and the guns don't look too bad. Probably the hardest part moving forward is going to be a little bit of photo etch that I've got for it, and the converting the biplanes over to look like Kingfishers.
Very cool.
Cool. Thanks. All right, let's see. So next would be Michael.
Good evening, everyone. Little to report. Eagle Squadron had their meeting this past weekend. An announcement I didn't make earlier that came from that was Eastern Carolina is going to have their show tentatively scheduled for the 9th of July. That's going to be in Haverlock, North Carolina. It's the Newbern Group, and that's where they're meeting now. So they've had their money paid down, and they're still holding it, and they hope COVID and everything else will settle out, and they'll be able to have that next summer. And that's what
Yeah,
I'm-
Michael,
Yeah.
I hope it's not tentative, because it's already on the IPMS USA website.
Okay, they said they were going to put it up this week, so I guess they went ahead and put it up. They hadn't Sunday, I don't believe, but
Yeah,
So-
so I'm in contact with a cat down there. I think his name is Alan Welch, I think.
I
And
don't recognize the name, but that's not unusual.
yeah, so he shared a flyer with me for a couple of the groups that I run on Facebook to start putting word out, and he asked me to hold off till they had it solidified. And then he sent me a private message Saturday morning, I think, and said, that's it, Eastern Carolina, it's a go. So
Well, perhaps we'll all be able to do that next year. Hope so. That's all I
Yeah.
have.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
And Vince, you're next.
Oh, okay. So you guys know I was working on that little 140, where did I put the box? The 144 scale FJ3 Fury. And I was astonished the other day. I've got the gloss gold gray with the white on the control surfaces and then the white underneath. And I went down here late last night, and what you get is 2 decal sheets that are exactly the same. So some decals, even though they're reprints, you won't use them. So they'll be good for the spares because they're well printed and they actually work real well. But what I want you to kind of pay attention to is this little sliver of blue right here. What they give you, you need all 4 of them. You have to put them on the wingtips because they've got 3 white stars in there. And I got to tell you, after just the wingtips, like in
You're breaking up pretty bad, Vince.
Yeah, we can't hear you at all.
Yeah, you're cutting out. It says your band.
I'm kidding, but the decals, I'm getting moved to the top. In the meantime, I grabbed the Mark I model Curtis P30, and this thing, our instrument panels are done up and all painted in. And the engines are complete, and my interiors. So I'm getting ready to start assembly on that tonight. And if I'm breaking up that bad, I'll pass to the next guy. I'm just working in 100. That's all.
All right, Vince. Paul, you're up next.
Hey, everyone. I was actually a bit surprised to get the invite tonight. I thought last Thursday was the last one, but always nice to be on with you guys. So not a lot to report. I got the race car that I'm trying to wrap up. So I started the decals on there. So you see, you got the front. There's going to be another decal that's going to overlap that white one. It's going to be number 3 in black. So that's all painted up, as you can see. And this is probably, I don't know, 25% of them. Race cars, of course, have a lot of sponsorship and markings on them and such. So there's that. This is just the engine cover. I got mounted on a piece of cardboard there so I can handle it a little nicer. What I decided to do is, I don't know how well you can see it, but those little panels there, those little access panels, I called it out in black wash inside inside those grooves there, and then I highlighted the rivets with little silver paint. And I guess the crews use that because that's where this is the hub for the rear wheel. Maybe they, at times they went in there for like a pit stop. They can quickly take that panel off and make an adjustment or something. But this is a car that would have raced in like the 24-hour Le Mans and such. So that's coming along nice. For 2 years I've been modeling. The only paint that's ever been shot out of my airbrush is Tamiya. The Tamiya, just their acrylic blends or hybrid acrylics, whatever you want to call those, and an MRP. This car called for a color called bright red, which Tamiya has called out as a spray paint, and I didn't want to spray paint it, and I didn't want to do the thing where you decant spray paint. So for the first time, I made the switch for this car to the Mr. Hobby. They had a nice bright red color, as you can see, and this stuff shot really, really well. So pretty impressed with that. Just another bullet in my gun there that I can use for just another brand of paint that I like. So this is pretty good stuff, and I'm sure you guys have used this stuff before. I think it's pretty popular paint. Also working on the 32nd Corsair. I just got into that. Not really a whole lot to show with that one. The only thing I've done is just glue on some of those tiny little parts on the console there. Painted it some interior green. I'm going to do some masking and paint the rest black. Then I'll detail paint it. Put those tiny little decals that I showed you last week on there. Those Barracuda placard and stencils for the cockpit. And then I'll do some weathering. But obviously this is probably going to be 6 to 8 months, I would think. The rate I build models, 148 usually takes me about 4 to 5 months, 200 to 300 parts. This one's about 500. I think Joe built this kit before, if I'm not mistaken. So he can tell you. So, but just taking my time, really enjoying it. And, so far so good. I just really fallen in love with the kit. It's been great. Go ahead.
Which kit, Paul?
This one here.
Which kit?
Hang on. That one. You see it?
Oh, to me.
Yeah, to me, it's
41A.
1/32. Didn't Joe build that one?
Well, I'm sure Joe's built that. one.
I have not built the 1A, but I've built the bird cage and the 1D.
Oh, gotcha.
The 1D is very similar to that one.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. But it's the kit. The kit's a dream. I mean,
Oh, it's gorgeous.
like I said, I'm only on the very, very early stages, but I can't imagine it falls apart at the end. I mean, the thing's just been brilliant. And like I said, I want to give it to my brother for his birthday, and December 18th is his birthday, but I don't know if I don't think I can make that. So I'm just going to take my time, really enjoy the build. Like I try to do all of them, but yeah, the thing's just been a blast. I also have the Hasegawa F15, but since I got in that Corsair, I mean, that's probably going to sit on the the back of the bench here for a minute. But yeah, that's it for me. I'll pass on to the next guy.
So, if I can find Jonathan, you're up.
All righty. So I just been working on my Hasegawa Oscar. Got the main color painted on. It's overall silver, the whole plane. So that made it easy. And then I started doing the decals.
Oh,
And that's all decals.
Jesus.
Yeah, but it's just
That'll
one
keep
big
you busy.
sheet, right?
It's 9 decals to do all that.
Oh, okay.
The toughest one was the one that wraps, goes this thing and wraps on both sides of the fuselage. So you had to put it on and set it up on the stabs and then work this underneath the stab one at a time. So I was going to say I did a lot of masking, but I didn't think anybody believe it.
No, we wouldn't.
So now I'm waiting on,
I was
Benny's
gonna
got
say,
some,
Jonathan,
yeah.
I was gonna say that'd go from 9 decals to about 18 decals for me. I'd be cutting them apart to put them on.
Their Hasegawa decals, I used really, really warm water. They all went down remarkably well. With 7 or 8 coats of Microsol, they all went down in all the panel lines. Benny's got some, he's going to bring me some unit decals because the kit decals, this is the unit it sits with. Okay. Anime girl with big tits. I don't know what particular unit that normally is in the Japanese army, but Benny's got some Oscar decals, but it's coming along real good. I was dreading and anticipating these decals, but after the first one went on the fuselage, I thought they actually figured out where they're supposed to go and they all match up nicely. So the only other hard part I was going to be is matching this leading edge Japanese orange yellow color, that funky Japanese orange yellow color to do the leading edges with. And I'm afraid I'm just going to go, they have this orange yellow right here. I'm just going to get my Tamiya yellow and orange and mix till I match that and then call it close enough. So, but anyway, that's all I've been working on here with between work and this. So I will cede the rest of my time to the next available operator, Tim.
All right, well, that'll be Steve.
And not much for me this week. I've been fighting with squirrels down here.
Squirrels?
Just dabbling with this little bit of that. So I just need to get everything straightened back up and start getting some forward motion again. But that's all I have.
All right, cool. Jim, you're up.
Okay. Not much for me. I missed last week because I was driving home from Bethany Beach. Got to see 3/4 of my grandkids, and that's an adventure all in itself. Haven't done any modeling, but I've been working on a set of drawings of F-105 pylons. Don't ask how I got involved in that, but it's been an adventure. That's pretty much it for me.
All right, cool. Jeff, you're up.
Well, no real modeling, but I survived Oshkosh. The
Oh, yeah.
air show was pretty cool. The most unusual aircraft, I think, in my opinion, was a 12-gun wing Hurricane. I hadn't seen a Hurricane at Oshkosh ever, so that was a first. Not too many big bombers. There was a B-17 flying around overhead, probably giving rides, but it never landed at the runway itself. And the most unusual big aircraft, the Air Force had a C-17. The German Luftwaffe flew in an Airbus A400. So that was pretty cool to see that. There was a Air National Guard Wisconsin KC-135R parked on the main ramp, and the UPS 7478. So I took a lot of pictures of that because I've got the Zveda kit in the Revell box for the UPS decals, and the color is not white, it's a buff. So I even held up white sheets of paper next to the damn airplane and took pictures so you could contrast the white, and hopefully they can find a pre-mixed color or mix something my own that's close enough, because I've got that one in the stash, and that would make a nice, it's a pretty color scheme with the brown and the kind of a gold orange stripe, accent stripe. Went to a lot of the lectures. I missed the night air show. Wednesday was supposed to be the night air show, but there was a major line of thunderstorms that moved through. In fact, Oshkosh dodged a major bullet. I was talking to one pilot. I said, if I owned an airplane here, I'd get the hell out. And a lot of people did. There was actually tornadoes in the town of Ripon, only 15 miles due west of Oshkosh, and hail there. So there was a diaspora of aircraft on Wednesday. A lot of them came back later in the week for the weekend, but some never came back. So, but they dodged a big one because all they would need is a hailstorm with all those airplanes there, and that would just, I can't imagine the insurance cost that would entail. As far as other warbirds, there are 3 Corsairs, the usual gaggle of Mustangs, but there weren't as much variety on the warbirds as there has been in years past. Like I said, the 1 Hurricane, 1 Spitfire, and they were 2 of the aircraft. I was going to get more pictures. They were 2 that vaporized with the bad weather. So I got a couple quick shots at a Hurricane, but not as many detailed shots as I was going to take. So
They had the Tora planes there, didn't they?
they had a few of them.
Didn't they fly them? The T6 Jap planes?
Yeah, they had a couple, but not a lot of those this year. 3 years ago, there was an actual Zero. I mean, a real Zero, not a fake one. So that was kind of cool to see. Then there was a Wildcat on a truck that they hauled out of Lake Michigan that they're in the middle of restoring. A Dash 3, a hard wing. The pilot died in the crash, but they fished it out, and there's some complicated relationship with the Naval Aviation Museum, so these guys could take possession of that aircraft, because the Navy lays claim to everything that's on the bottom of the ocean. It's theirs.
Yep.
What's mine is mine, and what's yours is negotiable, kind of.
Yeah, the U.S. Navy does that with all of its assets when they're lost like that.
And I went to quite a few lectures. The most interesting one was the chief engineer from NASA for the Space Launch System. The thing is going to be pretty impressive. Saturn V size. The Block 1 won't be quite as big as the Saturn V, but the Block 2 will be bigger, thrust-wise and height-wise. Block 1 isn't quite as tall. So that'll be the next 72nd scale model we need to look for, Tim.
Yeah.
There's an SLS 72nd.
And get one of those, what is it, the Starship next to it?
Yeah, the one that looks
Painted up in
like Flash
stainless
Gordon.
steel. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then I guess Bezos got a lot for his space penis.
Yeah. That was hilarious. As soon as I saw that going up, I'm like, I remember seeing that in a movie.
Yeah. Oh, damn. He couldn't have designed that. I mean,
a billionaire.
Yeah. Yeah, the innuendos were flying with that thing. So I guess it's got a big shroud. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys are interested in that, go online, nasa.gov, and look up SLS, because the thing is, they're stacking it in the VAB right now for first launch next year or the year after. But it's coming up.
Didn't they recently say that they were on hold for their spacesuits, I think?
Well, first launch is unmanned.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a full up Orion spacecraft, and they're going to shoot that thing beyond the orbit of the moon. I mean, it's going a long way out. And then the re-entry angle that it's coming in is going to be the hottest, steepest. So it's one of the main focuses is the test of the heat shield on the Orion spacecraft. So I think they're probably doing a little bit of worst case. So if the thing comes back with no people on it, okay, then they'll probably have a good shot that it's not gonna have a reentry problem. So yeah, and it's not a boilerplate spacecraft like was on that Ares, the one that looked like a giant pogo stick that went up a couple of years ago before the Ares program got scrapped for SLS. But that was just a boilerplate Orion. It wasn't an actual spacecraft. So, but that was a very interesting lecture, and there's a lot of interesting stuff on NASA's website. So, guys interested in space, that's worth looking at. And that's about it from me.
You know, another friend of mine went out to Oshkosh, and some of the photos he posted that were most fascinating to me was the brand new AC-130U off of the 8-blade prop C-130. And instead of bristling with guns out the left side, it had one big cannon in the back and one medium cannon near the front. And that was literally it. I was surprised you didn't see all the Gatling guns and stuff like that.
Yeah, they did a demo. I didn't look at the airplane. That was one of the more boring demos. They didn't have their pacing right, and the airplanes are too far away. They did a simulated rescue of a downed pilot. And they probably burned about 45 minutes of air show time, but there was so much time watching that C-130 orbit, and it was so far away, and they had the fake ordnance along the runway. They need to work on their presentation on that one. But
Yeah, the AC-130s, they were like so heavy. If they lost the engine, they were going down. So I think they probably did what they did to like. They're like afraid if they lost the engine, they have to start finding a place to ditch. So it's pretty crazy. They're really, really heavily loaded.
yeah, those aircraft landed as I was leaving on the last night I was attending. So if I'd have gone the next day, I'd have probably got some photos of those. But I had to do a little family time, so I had four straight days at the air show, Monday through Thursday. I didn't go Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So I did stop at the Air Force Museum on the way up there, and that's pretty cool. The Memphis Belle exhibit is nicely done, I think, and the new hangar is pretty cool with the B-70 and the other research aircraft in it. So if you wanted to see those aircraft in the past, you had to get on a bus and go to the other side of the base. But now they got a new building open with all that stuff in it. So that was kind of nice pause. I only had a couple hours there though, because I had to get on the road. And Indiana was god awful. They had more damned road construction. So with all the delays I had in Indiana, I hit Chicago at rush hour. So it was not the not the best drive from Dayton to Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. So the previous day's drive wasn't bad at all, but driving from Dayton to Fond du Lac, I hit more road construction, and then because of that, Chicago traffic. So, well, it is what it is. That's it for me.
All right, Whitey, you're up.
Hey, sorry, late to the party. It was dinner went long. What do I got going on? I finally got paint on the Tornado. No desert paint yet, but I'm gonna put a late 80s RAF scheme on this thing and then overcoat it with the desert pink. And before I shoot the pink on it, I'm gonna dab the mask all around on it so I can do some chipping. I've never really done that technique before, but I tested it out on a mule I have here, and it worked out pretty decent. So, looking at pictures online of those things, they're pretty chipped up along the leading edges and intakes and things like that. So that's what I got happening with that thing. That's really
How long did that mask all take to set up?
Real quick, like within 10 minutes, you can be painting over it.
Oh, really?
And now I put Tamiya acrylic down on the, that's what I'm using as a for the RAF gray and green. And then I'm using the Mr. Paint lacquer as the desert tan. My lighting sucks, sorry, but you can see where this stab here is chipped. And but I was talking with Samo because he's used this stuff before, but he'd never used it with lacquer paint. So he's curious to see how it would work as far as when you go to remove it. And just with a damp Q-tip, it took the stuff right off, and you know, with no vigorous rubbing at all. So it works really well with the
Which brand is that, Whitey? What is that one?
it's the Mr. Hobby Mr. Masking Sol.
And Whitey, how do you apply it, with a sponge?
Yeah, I have a pizza. Well, I mean, it comes with a brush, but in order to get that chipping effect, yeah, I used just tear a piece of Scotch-Brite pad off of off a Scotch-Brite pad, and with a pair of tweezers, just kind of dab.
Right.
It's kind of tedious. It's not as quick.
All right, have a good time, Bill.
It wasn't as quick a process applying the stuff as I thought it was going to be. You know, and it's kind of hard to see where it's going down initially. So you have to be careful about where you're putting it, because otherwise you'll wind up with chipping that doesn't look very effective. So I erred on the side of using as little as possible and just, you know, dabbing it, and then, okay, I'll see how the result is. And then, I was, like I said, I was pretty happy with how it turned out.
I use a brand new micro brush.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to pick up some of those and give those a shot as well.
Yeah, I use it quite a bit on the 72nd scale RAF schemes.
What I've found is if you get like just a wooden toothpick, because when you touch the model, it wants to skitter, and it makes it a little more irregular. I have a tendency when I do with a brush, it always comes out smooth. And a toothpick or just a piece of balsa wood sliced at an angle gives you more an irregular chip looking.
Yeah.
Chip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all I have happening. I'll get the green camo painted on that thing over the weekend probably, and then pack up Monday for Nats and head out Tuesday for Nats. So.
Hey, you ever do salt chipping?
Yeah, I tried that once. I didn't like it. It was kind of messy and just.
Yeah.
That's why I've had this stuff kicking around in my toolbox for more than a year now. So I was like, man, it's time to give it a try. So that's why I figure this thing's a good subject.
Hey, Paul, I tried salt chipping, and frankly, it was a bit of a pain in the ass, but it worked. It's the only model I ever entered that won first place.
Oh, be darned.
Yeah,
I like
technique. I've tried that one too, and that works pretty well.
Which one, Whitey?
With hairspray.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
The cockpit I showed you, the rudder pedals, I'm gonna spray it silver hairspray, then the interior green, and then have a real coarse brush or maybe like a pin and start. It's also fun to do.
Yeah. Like I said, I had that bottle of stuff sitting around, so that's why I went ahead and used it. So.
Yeah, gotcha. Cool.
Yep. That's all I got, man.
Whitey, just for you, I have your Avenger that Benny had. That Colin had, I'm sorry. The one who was at the Navy Yard. So it will be at the next meeting.
Okay. How about the Devastator? Did he give you that as well?
Some of the midway stuff they kept. It's still on display.
Oh, okay.
So I think I just have your Atlantic Scheme Avenger.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know if Colin's letting anybody know or not, but I don't want to be hanging on to y'all's stuff any longer than necessary. My dog ate it.
Speaking of chipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a good way to do flak damage. Little fight if you bites out, man.
I can fight them.
That's all I got, man.
It looks like that one they show at Midway all the time with the wing ripped off, sitting on the island.
Yeah.
All right, guys, anything else? Oh, by the way,
Have fun at Nats, boys.
we'll do.
Those of you that are going, come back in one piece.
Bring back lots of prizes.
Anybody thinking about going to the Nova meeting in September?
Yes. Yes.
Did you see the announcement that came out today that mask mandates?
Yeah, they said it was, when they had their last meeting, I joined them for that. And the default was, it's easier to take your mask off if it's lifted than it is to try to find one if you don't bring it. So they were defaulting to masks because there may be students in the halls, even after hours. And, you know, Virginia has gone semi-commie, so they're expecting full mask mandates.
Just semi?
Well, they're not as bad as Maryland yet.
That's the People's Democratic Republic of Maryland, Joe. Get it right.
Yeah, I know.
So what's the word over in Nevada? Is you guys got a mask up at the convention?
Looks that way.
Yeah, mask up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, is that right?
I
And
plan
what,
to describe a politically
what-
incorrect message on my mask.
give me an idea of how many people they're going to see at the Nationals. 5,000, 10,000? How many? 3,000?
A lot.
No idea.
Well, they're looking at what, 3,500 models, I think was the number I heard or read somewhere.
Well, the largest national yet was like 23 or 2,400. So
Yeah.
if they break that, you know, because people have been hunkered down. Now, they've had a whole bunch of vendors have had to back out of the Nats because like the Europeans can't even get in here.
Yeah.
And some of the Japanese companies just bowed out. So I'm kind of curious how many modelers may actually bow out because of, you know, mask mandates and people that may have just a fear about the Delta variant and all that kind of crap. I'm hoping it doesn't hurt the Nats too bad.
And it's next year. I think someone told me it's in Omaha.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, about a week ago, I was talking to my wife. I was like, honey, how about next year vacation? How do you feel about Omaha?
What?
Yeah, no,
You're on your own, dude, is probably the answer.
Tell her you'll take her to the beach in Omaha. It's right along the Missouri
Yeah.
River.
He filed for divorce the next day.
Well, I'm sure it's got to be Omaha and then to Hawaii after that.
No, so
You're
I'm
You're
going
probably
to
about an
Omaha
eighth of the
next
way
year
there to
'cause
Hawaii.
I grew up right outside of Omaha in Bellevue, and I've got a whole bunch of family in Omaha, so I'm going to that Nats.
Well, I wanted to go to this one, but you know my story. I got dragged to a wedding, but yeah, I'm looking forward to heading one of those. Before too much longer, I'm going to get to a show.
Hey, Jim, back to your question about Nova. It's the second Wednesday, which is like the 8th. And Steve Workman already said he wanted to go up. I'm planning on going up. Maybe we can arrange to meet somewhere for a dinner and go to the meeting.
I might be interested, Vince.
Okay, Jeff.
Yeah, we can do Hooters or Freddy's Steak Burger, whatever.
Hey,
Yeah,
Beth
in the Hooters.
finished her Kirby. I'm showing. Yeah. there you go.
It's finished.
Now you got to do another one where he blows up. You gotta do Big Kirby.
I'm pretty sure they don't know Kirby.
No, that's some.
I think I know Kirby quite well.
I used to know a Kirby. And there were times when I wanted to blow him up.
I hate to tell you this, sweetheart. All of us have had kids too. We're kind of familiar.
Kirby was also a vacuum cleaner, but that's another story.
Yep.
Yeah, it was named after a vacuum cleaner company.
Oh, you have any M80s around?
If Phil doesn't, he'll make one.
Anyway, boys, I'll see you later. Have a good time at Nats, you guys.
Yep.
See you, Paul.
Yeah.
Right.
Take it easy, Paul.
Take care, guys.
Yeah, so, hey, Tim, what do you think about Nova on September 8th?
Yeah, I'll do
I
it.
think there's a Nova on September 8th. Are you asking me if I want to go?
Yeah,
I'm on the fence.
That will hurt if you don't get off there soon, Tim.
I know, it smarts already.
Yeah.
The problem is, Vince, it's on a Wednesday night, and I skipper a boat that races on Wednesday nights. So I basically have to take 7 other people out of doing something by not racing.
gotcha. Yep, fair enough.
Well, and that may be the last race of the season, either that or the weekend after that. So probably in October, I'll be able to start going over again.
Okay, they've published their schedule through like next June, and there's only 1 month. I think it's May. I could be mistaken. It's either March or May. It's like an M month. They don't have a meeting currently scheduled that they're trying to fill in, but all the others, September through next June, they have the dates, and majority of them are Wednesday nights. So they're kind of back to that. They're struggling because they don't pay the school, and so they're at the school's whim. So
Right.
there's a number of them that are second Wednesday kind of meetings.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, if nothing else, guys, I'll let you go. Have a good evening.
All right.
All right.
Take care.
Talk to you guys next time.
See you.
Yep.
Later.
See you.
Good night.